minimalist syntax compared to SAS, as it allows us to omit brackets, colons, and semicolons, and it relies on the indentation instead of brackets and semicolons. So that's the theory. Why should we choose Stylus over SCSS? Let's look how do we install it and configure it. Its installation process is very simple. All we need to have Node and npm installed on our local machine. Then we need to run this command npm install stylus-g. G stands for global installation, right? So after just running this command, we don't have to configure a JS file like gulp file.js as we do in our projects to configure the gulp in order to run, in order to compile uh, SCSS files, right? Let me show you how did I create a very simple demo for it. As you can see here, I have created two folders. One is stylus that will hold the stylus files having the extension .styl, right? And we are done with the configuration thing. All we need to do to compile the file, we need to run just the second command I noted here. This command will compile the CSS file only for the one, but for the concurrent watches, we need to run this command. Let me run this command. So now the stylus watcher is ready to watch our file style files. Now, as I said, the minimalist syntax. So omitting the curly braces, colons, and semicolons. As you can see, this is the syntax I wrote for the body implementing a background color. Let's add one more CSS property here like font size. Not using a colon, let's say 20px. Right now, I'm not going to use the semicolon as well. Saving the file, the output file will result in this pure CSS. As you can see, this is the output file. So there is no need to configure or write any JS like the gulf file.js. All you need to do, just install the stylus using the npm install command and directly create two folders. One will hold the stylus files, and another will hold the css files, compiled css files. To start the watcher, we need to run this command. So this is the entire process of installation of stylus on a local machine development. So I hope it's very simple and clear now, right? Now moving to few additional features that make stylus more flexible than SCSS. So I have concluded few points like 4 to 5. Those we do not find in the SCSS. Let's say starting from the first one, which I mentioned a moment ago, like indentation based, less syntax and more flexibility. So Stylus says that it's intention based using the white space, so we can substitute the curly braces with an indent, allowing us to omit the semicolons, colons, braces, as shown in the following snippet. And the same I'm using here, where you can see I'm not using any curly braces and omitting the colons and semicolons. So this is the very first feature that allows you to write very flexible code and for the faster development. Second thing, my favorite one is the built-in functions. In our recent projects, let's say we used to write functions to convert the uh, units. So here Stylus provides us the built-in functions. Those can be used for the color manipulation, mathematical operations, and any other more. Let's say, as you can see, this is the first one, unit method, right? So how does it work? Let's say I'm coming here and I'm using the font size as in the unit method. Now I'm writing here 18 pixel and try to change it in the M unit. Save the file, see the output. Now, as you can see, this is the unit conversion being done by the built-in methods, right? The same, there are a long list of built-in methods in the stylus, but I just noted down very two or three very important methods that we use to write as a function in the SAS projects, right? So if you want to change any value to pixel, you use the two pixel method, providing the value as an argument. So this one feature is my favorite one, where we don't have to write functions in order to achieve such functionality, right? So these are two. Now coming to the next few plus features, those we do not find in the SAS. Third feature is unique feature is integrated units, right? What integrated units does, as we can see, we can do mathematical operation on two different type of units. As you can see that I'm using 100 pixel, having a pixel unit plus 1 em. In order to achieve this thing in the our SAS projects or the normal CS, we generally use the calc function, right? But in stylus we can do it without any calc function, and we can write it directly here. Like, again, I'm using the font size, and let's say I'm adding it like 18 pixel plus 2 em, saving it, and I can see it's resulting in 20 pixel, right? So this is one of the most prominent feature of a stylus, where you can use different units, right? So this type of conversion will be helpful, may be helpful for the responsive designs and other scenarios where we need to work with the different units in our style sheets, right? Now jumping to another one of the very good feature, which says use the property as a variable lookup. So here we can see we are using the max width 100%, and again we are using this max width CSS property for the lookup variable lookup, like at the rate max width divided by 2. So how does it work? Let us see here once again. Let's say I'm using here the max width property and setting it to 100 pixel. Again, I'm I'm trying to use this for the width. So here I'm using the max width as a variable lookup, sorry, divided by 2. Save it. Now, this is the output. Max width is still 100 pixel, which is fine, but you can see using the max width CSS property, we just decided the width 50 pixel. And that is based on this calculation at the rate max width divided by 2. So this is something we say in the stylus language, use the property CSS properties as a variable lookup. This is one of the greatest feature stylus is offering. Now, moving to the variable scope in stylus, it is it is another feature that is very significant, and it's very good to have when we start writing or reading CSS stylus tutorials. So in stylus, we define two types of variables: local and global variables. The variables declared in the block are local or block scope variables. Global variables are over. Okay, I'm coming to this line. So as you can see, I have defined the primary color here, which is set to green. This is global variable. Which one is the block scopic variable? I have defined it inside the H1 block. This is the primary color red. Now we can see the both variables, local one and the global one, have the same name. But the local, uh, the global variable will be overridden by the local variable. As you can see in the output CSS, H1 H1's primary color is red, but we set it the green color as a global variable. But inside the H1, it the global variable is overridden by the local variable. So as an output, we see the H1's color is red, but the H2 color is green, which is coming from the global variable. So this is the variable scope in the stylus. So only one thing we need to keep in our mind, that that is the global variable will override the local variable, right? I'm sorry, I think I told it wrong. The local variable, yes, the local variable will override the global variable. Now, moving to the syntax, these are the 4 to 5 features those we need to know before we jumping into the we are going to choose the stylus, because there is a very genuine question that why should we choose a stylus when SAS is already in the market and in our practice, right? So these are the 4 to 5 features that so we can move to the stylus. Now coming to the syntax part, uh, just like SAS, Stylus also provides the basic programming language features like the variables and functions, iterations, if else, right? So let's start with the very basic thing. That's the way we define the variables in Stylus. Use the dollar sign inside or not, that's all fine, right? As you can see, variables are normal identifier names as well. It contains dollar in it. So the following variables are valid with or without dollar. So you just need to declare the variable name, assign a value using the assignment operator, right? Now it's up to you, you use the dollar sign or not, right? This is the way we define the variables in stylus. Now, the second heading is related to define the stylus mixins and its implementation. That's the way we define our stylus mixins, right? And that's the second snippet shows how do we implement the mixins. So it's very simple here. Simply just use your selector, and after that, using the indentation, you need to write your mixin name, nothing else, right? So that's the two things, variables and style mixins. Now moving to the next slide. This is the very simple illustration of how do loops work in the stylus, right? So that's all we have. Like I have defined 3 variables using the different font sizes, and that's the way we use for loop in the stylus, right? Like for I in 1 to 3, and the output is H1, H2, H3. All has the 3 different size of font sizes. So that's the one more thing we use. That's the one more programming language, basic programming language feature we use in the stylus, right? So the next thing is, and the last thing is, which is coming from the basic uh, programming language feature, is the stylus functions, right? Functions basically are similar to the mixins. However, functions return data, but mixins do not return any kind of data. And like any other programming languages, stylus contains function declaration and calling a function. So that's the way we define a function in stylus without any curly braces and semicolons. This is width calculate is my function name, and here I'm adding two parameters, width one and padding one. And inside my functions body, I'm just uh, performing a addition of width and padding, right? Now, how do we call this width calculate function inside my stylus syntax? Here I'm using a div, and here width is my CSS property, right? And as a CSS property value, I am passing this width calculate function with two arguments, 100 pixel and 10 padding, right? So output of this function will be 110 pixels, means width will be equal to 110 pixels. Now the function with default arguments, that's the another variation of the function. So again we are using the same function name with calculate, but instead of passing a parameter here, padding one, we have replaced it with the default argument like padding one equals to 20. Now, when we shall call this method inside our div, then we pass only one argument, the 100 pixel argument, right? Because the first argument is the second argument, second parameter is the default argument we have already passed in our function. So again the output of this function will be 120 pixels, right? One more thing, last thing to note down here is that if the function passes with second argument, the default value is ignored. So in this declaration we just passed one argument in the parenthesis, right? And the second argument it took from our parameter argument declaration here. But when we say that if the function passes the second argument, the default value is ignored. Again, here we are calling this width calculate 100 pixel, but this time we are passing the second argument. So it will simply ignore this default argument we passed at the time of function declaration. That is something we need to keep it in our mind, right? So output of this one will be the width 150 px, and output of this function call will be 120 px. So that is the functions in the stylus preprocessor language. And for more uh, deep knowledge, we can simply go to this styluslanguage.com docs, right? So actually it has a lot more there, but I just extracted the overview for you guys, right? So now I think I have covered all the basic stylus features. If someone needs to ask anything, please.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I had an amazing time learning all the new things here at Specbee's TechX. And if you did too, do let us know in the comments below. Keep following Specbee for the latest trends in technology. See you in the next one.